Hey internet, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Jongravesshow. Guess what's happening in One Piece chapter 808? Apparently, they're doing that thing in which they've probably, that this is probably the best time for them to do, is that they actually talk about what actually happened back, like weeks actually before everybody actually made it to the island. And when you actually think about it, it's like for what happens in this part is that they cut to the chase actually rather quickly in terms of the people who are there looking for the so-called Ronin from the Wano country. It's that, of course, it's the ninja who was also traveling with Kinemon, and apparently it is the men who are actually working with, I believe it's the right-hand man, the number 2 of Kaido, of course, and it's a gigantic mammoth, and his name is Jack is Jack, and apparently they say that wherever he goes, he fucking destroys just about everything which that gets in his way. And of course, the other guy who's with him is also, I believe, another guy. Well, how this is sort of painted is sort of like that. It's sort of like a master tamer thing. Whereas if you pretty much kind of have forgotten, best case scenario is that Jack is one of those guys who actually use one of those experimental Logia fruits, the smile, in which that Doflamingo was actually producing. So best case scenario is that could have led to most of his power and stuff like that. But as it's pretty much going on, the whole thing is that they show up in the country, and they have 2 sets of soldiers with them, the pleasures and the gifters. I don't necessarily know the difference between the two. I guess more or less like pawns, and they're super people who do actually have the ability who actually have Logia powers. But pretty much they go up against the people, and then they go up against the Mink tribe, and the Mink tribe wins. But they poison them with some of Caesar's poison gas, and in the process of that, it does end up hurting their strongest, their tribe leader. And of course, Chopper has been pretty much Chopper showed up, and he's been doing his best along with their doctor to fucking keep him alive and actually help him out, which is something that they have been doing. The thing about that is that how this sort of ends, though, is most of it doesn't look all that. It doesn't look like most of this is really going in the favor of them. But for how this is painted, is that they're about to come back for a second attack, and that things are not going to be as easy as pretty much how it was the first time in which that they fought them. And it does seem as though that they're about to jump into a lot more story, or at least that they're about to explain a few more things before they actually jump into the meat of this one, and they do sort of show what is going on with Sanji. But pretty much to sort of cap this up pretty much real easily, or at least just to do a quick summary, is that this episode, this chapter pretty much talked a little bit more about why the state is in the way it is, who was attacking them, which is of course it's Kaido's people looking for that ninja, and that is what Wanda explained. And they introduced another character. His name is I believe it's Silicone, a dude, a tiger man who pretty much doesn't like to talk about sweet things around him, babies, kids, candy, stuff like that, which is really crazy. I guess probably because he wants to keep his I guess he wants to keep his intimidating image, but either way, that is pretty much his whole thing. So really, this was not a bad chapter, and it was a nice bridge to get to most of the other information. However, I do sort of look at this though, and I say this one really does seem to sort of come off a little bit more story heavy and story abrasive than how the other ones were. Whereas, of course, in the Dressrosa arc, it's most of that story pretty much had to, or at least a good starting point for that story was sort of based around the tournament. This one is sort of based around what in the fuck is going on with Sanji. But that is pretty much what I got to say about, and who's attacking the mink tribe. But that is what I got to say about that. Please tell me what you think about this down in the comment section. I'll catch you guys on the next Jongravesshow. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.